In today's video, I'm going to make myself look like an absolute fool just for you to understand the true importance of how, the importance is an understatement. Being a master presenter is one of the most effective things you can invest your time in learning how to do. And I'm going to show you the easiest way around that, even if you have confidence issues or anything like that, where you're like, I'm not a public speaker. I have a question for you. Have you ever talked to your friend out in public? Congratulations. Unless you're a psychopath or a sociopath, you've probably talked to someone in public, which means you are now, according to me, a certified public speaker. So you are welcome, my dear friend. You are a public speaker. What I'm going to be doing in today's video is showing you how to proselytize an audience and really wake them up with attention capture with the beauty that is presenting, stepping into a character, embodying the role, portraying the right tonality, okay? Because most of you are fucking boring when it comes to your webinars, your challenges, any of that. You read from the slides or the script and you really focus a lot on what you need to say. People are like, what the fuck? Like, you wasted my time. And your audience will never forgive you for two things. First is lying to them. The second is boring them, okay? You cannot bore them. They will never forgive you. You are dead in their mind, just like a girl. You can make a woman feel anything but bored. They're like cats. You got like that little ball of yarn. If you just throw a ball of yarn to a cat and leave it alone, it'll play with it for about 5 seconds, then it'll fuck off. But if you throw it out there and start pulling it back gently, the cat will chase. All right, so this is what we have to get good at doing linguistically with our words, and I'll show you the biggest hack, no matter if you think you're not a public speaker, you're not confident, any of that. I'm going to show you what's helped me more often than not, and that's rehearsing other people's speeches, their monologues, their dialogues, playing a character. This is why I love improv classes. So what we're going to be doing is going over Alexander the Great's Opus Mutiny speech, and I'm going to reenact it just for you, my dear friend, to show you what it should sound like and what you can expect. All right, so let's kick this fucking party off. So Alexander, in 12 years, conquered basically a whole continent before he passed away, unfortunately. A lot of today's language and stuff is based off of him, which I think is really cool. So this is a summarized speech. It's not the full one. Go listen to Arian's version and description, like debriefing of what his speech actually was. They're more accurate words for the time. But anyways, let's go into this. What I'm about to say to you isn't meant to stop you returning home. As far as I care, you can go wherever you wish. But I want you to know how you have behaved toward me and how I have treated you. I'll begin, as is right, with my father, Philip. When he found you, you were mere peasants, wearing hides, tending a few sheep on the mountain slopes, and you could barely defend them from your neighbors. I've practiced this speech more times than I care to admit, if you're wondering why I'm going ahead. Under him, you begin living in cities, with good laws and customs, and he turned you from slaves into rulers over those very barbarians who used to plunder your land. He conquered most of Thrace, taking the best harbors so there was trade and prosperity, and put the mines to steady work. The Thessalians, they used to terrify you. Well, we rule them now. The Athenians and Thebans, always looking for a chance to attack Macedonia. We're so humbled, myself playing my small part in the war, that they no longer take tribute from Macedonia, but instead depend upon us for their protection. My father went to the Peloponnese and put their house in order. Then he was declared supreme commander of all the Greeks for the campaign against the Persians, an honor not just for himself, but for all Macedonians. This is what my father Philip did for you. Great enough on its own, but small compared to what you've gained from me. So good, so good. I crossed the Hellespont, even though back then the Persians still commanded the sea. I defeated the satraps of the great King Darius and made you rulers of Ionia, Iolus, Phrygia, and Lydia, and took Miletus by siege. The rest of the land surrendered willingly, and their wealth became yours. All the riches of Egypt and Cyrene, which I won without a fight, are yours now. Syria, Palestine, Mesopotamia, Babylonia, all belong to you. The wealth of Lydia, the treasures of Persia, and the jewels of India and the outer sea. You are now satraps. You are generals and captains. What have I held back for myself apart from this purple cloak and diadem? Nothing. No man can point to my riches, only the things I hold in trust for you all. Oh, so good. And what would I do with him anyway? I eat what you eat. I get no more rest than you. Many times I spent the night on watch so that you could sleep soundly. Who among you believe he's worked harder for me than I have for him? Go on, if you've got scars, strip and show them to me. I'll show you mine. There isn't one part of my body, the front at least, that doesn't bear a wound. What does that presuppose? My body's covered in scars from every weapon you can think of. Swords, arrows, stones, clubs, all for the sake of your lives, your glory, and your wealth. Yet here I still am, leading you as conqueror of land and sea, rivers, mountains, and the plains. We've celebrated our weddings together. Many of your children will be cousins of my own. I've paid off your debts without asking how you've got them, even though you're paid well enough and pillage every city we take. Many of you wear golden crowns, badges of courage and honor given you by me. Any one of us who was killed, who met a glorious end, we buried with full honors. Many now stand immortalized by bronze statues in Macedonia. Their families are honored and pay no taxes. Under my command, not one man has been killed fleeing the enemy. That is such a good fucking line right there. Such a good line. And now I wanted to send back some of you who've been wounded or crippled or have grown old to be welcomed back home as heroes. But since you all wish to go, then all of you, go! Go home and tell them that your king, Alexander, conqueror of the Persians, Medes, Bactrians, and Scythians, who now rules over the Parthians, Chorasmians, and Hyrcanians as far as the Caspian Sea, who's marched over the mountains of the Hindu Kush, crossed the Oxus and Tanais rivers, even the Indus, the first to cross since Dionysus himself. I would have crossed the Euphrates too if you hadn't cowered in fear, who sailed into the great sea from the mouth of the Indus, crossed the desert of Cadrosia, where no one had ever led an army, who took Carmenia while my fleet sailed the Persian Gulf. When you get home, you tell them that when you made it back to Susa, you abandoned him and went home, leaving him under the protection of the foreigners you'd conquered. Perhaps this report of yours will seem glorious in the eyes of men and worthy in the eyes of the gods. Be gone. It's one of my absolute favorite speeches. This dude really invented the narrative that most mothers take today. You're being ungrateful. He invented that narrative. He's like, I've done all of this for you. Look how ungrateful you are. After that, a lot of his troops begged for forgiveness and stuff like that. But this is one of my absolute favorite things to do. My neighbors and people, when I'm out walking, they look at me strange because I'm screaming out there, rehearsing Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. I study a lot of Eric Hoffer. This is one of my absolute favorite speeches to go out there and practice and prepare, because the presentation skills are there. If you just Go rehearse these speeches. You don't have to even make your own. Just practice these. Practice I don't know. One thing I really like doing is writing them down. That way I can get in the mind of these great conquerors, these great leaders, these great liberators of their time. People who, and you can say whether they're right or wrong, good or evil, but they're right because they won. They're right because they won. Whether you like that or not, history is written by the victor, my dear friend. That's how life works, okay? If you're not alive to tell your tale, you are wrong. Just how it is in today's day and age. That's what makes the United States so terrifying to most people is our military. They want you to think they're dumb. I see what's going on behind the scenes with how they make us portray. When you're strong, you must appear weak in the art of war, as it says by Sun Tzu. It's so good, but guys, this is such an easy way to just master the art of, like, this is such a beautiful thing. It's such a lost art in today's day and age, okay? So just go find a speech. Go rehearse The Man in the Arena by Teddy Roosevelt or anything from Rudyard Kipling. Read poetry, like, rehearse it, practice it, say it out loud. If you have to do it in a room when no one's looking, I just don't care what other people think of me. And so I'll go say this when I'm walking the dogs out in the neighborhood and people are like, what are you talking about, the jewels of Persia? Like, something's wrong with this white boy. Call the cops. And I get a lot of weird looks, but I just don't care because I'd rather be a great presenter than have people's approval of me. Okay? And because I'm a great presenter, I can proselytize a full audience of people. I can get on a webinar with thousands of people and get them to buy my products and services. Why? This. Okay? So go practice it. Find a speech. Go fucking practice it. I don't care what it is. I'll give you some of the greatest people to study right now. 1, Martin Luther King. Genghis Khan. Alexander the Great, Adolf Hitler, Mussolini. It's Benito Mussolini. Their communication style, regardless of what you think about them, their speeches and stuff moved the masses. They proselytized audiences to get them to believe what they wanted them to believe. They brainwashed an entire country. If that's not like a skill worth studying, if they can use that for severe evil, we can use it for severe good. Prove me wrong. You can't. Okay? So go do this. Whether you like it or not, it will turn you into an excellent presenter. It will make you a mathematician. Okay? Someone who always knows what to say and how to say it. So if you're interested in learning these linguistic tools and mathematics and proselytizing and converting audiences, not even just with sales, but with a message to get them to be who you need them to be to become a customer. Oh, how do you do that? How do you change someone's behavior? The hardest thing on planet Earth, I have made easy. It's almost like the movie Inception. What if there was something you could do to plant seeds in someone and they acted upon it themselves? How do you do that? I can teach you, my dear friend. For right now, just go to runningbuddiesacademy.com, opt into the free mathematics newsletter. I'll send you these language patterns and stuff to do on how to plant and seed ideas and make people think that they're their own. Call us what you want. It works though, and it makes a shit ton of money, and you can live life on your terms. So I'm telling, like, growing up, I did not understand my place in the world, nor where I fit into the grand picture of things, but becoming like a mathematician, understanding the art and beauty of knowing what to say and how to say it. For the first time in my life, when I learned how to communicate fluently, was the first time I ever felt significant. Like I knew I had a chance at taking control over my life. And I'm telling you, when you know how to communicate, people just look at you different. Okay, they say, there's something about this guy, there's something about this girl that just pulls me in. So, I don't know what your childhood was like growing up, but communication saved my life. So, what do you do most of your life? You talk. You might as well get fucking great at it. Love you all. Keep being awesome. I'll see you on the next video.